Hey there, welcome back to Marketing Matchmaker. As you know, we are in the month of November, which is all about me giving back to my audience, which means that a lot of my guests right now may not directly relate to marketing, but they will definitely help you grow your business. So today I have a friend here who I love and who has done amazing things for me and my business. And I just wanted her to share with you, who she is, what she does, and how what she does can really help you to grow this successful business that you've already desired. So I'm going to introduce you to Derlene Hirtz. Derlene is the owner of You Empowered Services, and she is a mindset coach, strategist, trainer, and really does help her clients to achieve those levels of success that they've always dreamed of. I have to say, just a shout out, that my business wouldn't be where it's at today had I not gone through the training that Derlene provides. So I really wanted to share what she has with everyone else. Welcome to the show today, Derlene.
Thank you. I am honored and a complete pleasure to be here. Super excited.
I am super excited. I love talking about mindset. And I know we talk about it all the time because we know how much it affects our business, but I don't think maybe everyone does. So explain what it is that about mindset that you need and why it's important.
Sure. So interestingly enough, I just had this conversation at a meeting I was at, and we were talking about success is 90% mindset, 10% action. And what happens is people take action with the wrong mindset. And so they're living this life of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And every day they get up and say, okay, today's going to be different. Well, that can't be, because the mind that got you there to that point is not the mind that can move you forward. It's got to have some new skills, some new tools, some new, I don't know, energy, whatever term you want to use to get it going. I mean, it's just like you can only go so far. In I don't know, soccer, that's what everybody plays around here. And if you aren't introduced to a new skill or a new coach or something like that, you're going to be playing the same soccer at 14 that you were playing at 6. It's just the way that it happens. And so
I
that's why go
I
ahead.
agree wholeheartedly when it comes to just that skill, right? Like it's a skill set that you learn, and the new skill set, everyone is focused on learning new skills, right? They learn how to bake bread, or they learn, how to drive a car or whatever that might be, but they don't necessarily look at upgrading how they think. And how they think is what's really going to take them to that next level, right?
Yes. They're very concerned about what they think. And we're not concerned about that. We're concerned about how you think, because that's where we can go in and do some great work with you to help you shift how it is that you're looking at a situation, or how it is that you're handling a situation, help you with different perspectives. And then you go, oh my gosh, that makes so much more sense. And the next thing you know, you're assigning the clients, you're closing the sales, you're doing all the things that you knew you were capable of. You just couldn't get there because you were, I don't know, for lack of a better word, kind of stuck,
Mm-hmm.
because you didn't know what you didn't know. And I see that all the time, that, people think, well, this is the way it is. No, it's not. Sometimes I'm like, no.
I know there's a saying that people say a lot, like it is what it is.
Mhm.
And after working with you for so long, it really is what you make it, right?
Yep.
And so accepting, everyone can accept where they're at, right? Like if you want to just live where you're at and live in whatever's going on, cool, that's awesome for you, no judgment. However, if you really want to get to those next levels of life, business, success, um, your mindset is the key to opening up those doors.
Yep, 100%. Because really, you know, I how many times have I said you're acting like a child? or maybe even have had that said to me a time or two. And the reality is that's a super true statement, because we are operating on our imprint, right? Our 0 to 7 years old, when we learned all the things, and then we quit growing. We learned all the emotions, and good and bad emotions, and how to handle them and everything, and we just quit growing. So it's like we have a little 7-year-old parked up in our head, and it's reacting to all these things in life, and it's because we haven't upgraded our mind, we haven't retrained our brain, we haven't gained any more skills around how to deal with situations. So we're dealing with them basically the way that we were when we were 7 years old, throwing little fits, and our fits might just look a little differently these days. However, we're just throwing a little, I don't know, 7-year-old Derlene fit. I've done that a few times in my life.
I have too. I mean, I'm going to be quite honest here. Like that's definitely something that you've hit. So when someone hits a wall, right? They've gotten to the point of whatever success they want, and they either hit that ceiling or that wall or whatever it is that metaphor they use, and they're stuck. What is it that they need to do? Like, what's the first step to getting unstuck?
Well, awareness. When we become aware, we go, yeah, nothing's happening. I am where I was this time last year in my business. My relationship is still in the same place that it's been for 15 years. I mean, fill in the blank, right? And so that awareness. And what happens is many times people do oh, it is what it is. I hear Eeyore, it is what it is, right? And then they stop. So what's another 15 years miserable like this? At least I know I'm going to get up tomorrow. So awareness. And then acknowledgement. Oh yeah, I got this going on. Yeah, for 15 years we've kind of been like this. We're really not going anywhere here. Yeah, business, yeah, it is what it is. Oh, we had the pandemic. That's why, right? Excuses. And as I say, we can have reasons or we can have results, but we can't have both, right?
Absolutely.
So then what happens, and that's where I would say between those two, awareness and acknowledgement, that's where 99% of the world is, and then there's that 1% of us who go, okay, now what do I do about this? I get it. I'm tired of this relationship. I'm tired of this business looking like this. I'm tired of the mess of my life, and I'm going to do something about it. And so I believe that you have to become aware, you have to acknowledge, and then you get to move to action. And that's where your success is, right? Is in that action. And once you gain new skills and new perspectives, then all bets are off. And people say it's everything I ever dreamed of and more. People don't even realize that they can have dreams even bigger than their 7-year-old mind would allow them to have, right?
Right.
And that's what's so freaking cool about mindset.
It is so cool because we are able to see, like, we're able to see the growth of people. I know, and just in my own life with my husband and my kids, being able to see when their mindset sets shift, that there's massive growth. And that's, I think, something, the joy of what you do, right?
Yep. I'm thinking of a student right now, and she's actually getting ready to go to the intense training. And I got a text from her today, and she said, oh, I'm looking forward to the celebration. And that in my mind, it triggered my mind to think about when I first met her and how disempowered she was, and how she just, Eeyore comes to mind again. She just kind of moped around, and she was very successful. I mean, that's the whole thing, is that successful people are even almost more apt to get caught in this stuckness because their ego gets in the way. I can't let anybody know I feel like this because really everybody thinks I'm a success. Well, that's a whole nother podcast we could do, right? And I was thinking about how far she's come, and even to get that text, because there was excitement in that text saying, yeah, I'm ready for this, bring it on. And her transformation has been so amazing. She literally, the last day of training that we just had, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, she literally walked up to me and she goes, well, I'm off to sell a house. And she closed the deal that night, and she was just high, high, high on her mountain celebrating. And I just love that, and I just don't know that it gets any better than that, is to watch, student after student after student after student go through that, and clients as well, just the aha moments of them realizing that, I don't know, they might be the common denominator. I don't know.
Isn't that the truth though? I mean, that's one of the things that I don't think so many people don't want to acknowledge, is that, what's the common denominator in your life, right? This person did this to you, that person did that to you, whatever the reason or the excuse or whatever that's going on in your life, what's the common denominator? And it's
Yes.
always us, right?
Look in the mirror and that person that you see, that's pretty much who's responsible for your life.
So when it comes to business, how has mindset shifted your life and your business, or your client's life and business?
So I'll just be vulnerable. I'll just talk about me. And I was in a position where I was working for, I would call it I was in a toxic working environment. That's the way I would say it now. Now, I don't think I could have said it like that back then, but I recognize it now as just that. And it was so disempowering, right? Sometimes things would be said to me and I'd be like, why would you even say something like that? And so when I think back to that time, about the first time I made a phone call and got involved in all of this NLP, neuro linguistic programming, all the things, and I see the incredible growth. First of all, I never even dreamed of being a business owner or an entrepreneur. That just was not even in the list of things you could do in my family.
Right.
And so that was my first huge step, is owning that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And then I remember being at a meeting with all the old people, all the old friends, quote unquote, business people. And we were going around introducing ourselves. And I remember the man sitting next to me going, I said, my name is Derlene Hirtz and I am a business owner and an entrepreneur. And he looked at me, he goes, I wondered how you were going to introduce yourself. And he said it not with admiration, like I thought maybe he would, but with, like, I don't know, just a different tone to it that was familiar to me, which was a reminder to me. And so just going from there, and then within 3 years, I had made $250,000 and was being able to, which the only thing that dollar signifies to me is all the lives we've been able to impact, that I get to look at somebody and go, I am so thankful for you, because their journey becomes my journey. We're just mirrors for each other. I mean, that's like the coolest thing ever, is if you want to be a coach, the greatest thing about coaching is you get to coach yourself.
Absolutely.
And just knowing that happens, and then having those nights where you're up wondering, what bill am I going to pay? What event am I going to attend? Putting ourselves out there, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. As I always say, that's the first order of business, is get comfortable being uncomfortable, because if you can't do that, you will never make it in the entrepreneurship world. It just won't happen. And so the shifting of the mindset and all of that took work.
Mhm.
It wasn't like I could say, oh, I'll just write affirmations all over my mirrors every morning and then I'll be confident, or, I'll ace it or whatever. And it takes real work about, where is it that I lost that confidence? What happened in my life to make me not feel confident? What happened in my life to make me feel like I wasn't worthy or I'm not enough? What happened? And that's where the gold is. I'm going to start crying on this podcast just thinking about it. But that's where the gold is, is to drop the ego and take a real good look in that mirror and go, where did that happen at? And then it's no blaming. It's thank you for the lesson. I appreciate the lesson, because now I can move on. Because you and I both know, if we don't learn that lesson, it is going to come back and keep trying to teach us and trying to teach us and trying to teach us until I will say my words, the big 2x4 comes. And that's
Right.
right. I mean, literally, it was like these situations were being put in my path and put in my path and put in my path. And I kept, aware, 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 acknowledge. Okay, I acknowledge. Yeah, this is like really probably not where I should be. Yeah, aware, acknowledge. And then boom, the 2x4. And I'm like, okay, now what? And that was a really, really dark time in my life because I didn't know I didn't have any tools. And I
Yeah.
certainly had a very dark mindset around what my future was. And once I started getting involved in all of this, and I remember saying to my coach, how did this happen so fast? 2 months ago, I'm telling God I'm done. And now I've got all these dreams. It's like a list that now I'm negotiating for 50 more years in my life, right? And it was all because I really got to the down and dirty of my mindset and shifting it. And I would say that I grew up with a very fixed mindset. That was my model. And a fixed mindset only believes that they're capable of only so much, and life is what it is. And I call it the box, living in the box. And once I opened that first little opening in the box, the first flap, I could see, number one, the opportunities that I could create for myself, and the awareness of, once I gained the confidence and I gained the self-worth and stopped the self-doubt, all of that, I just became on fire. And I'm not, and I will tell you that it's not 100% all the time, because as I say, if anybody tells you that they're 100% and they have no self-doubt and they're all this, I'm going to say, run the other way. You definitely don't want them as a
Absolutely.
coach, and you definitely don't want to train with them, because the number one person we lie to is
Ourselves.
ourselves. Yeah. And we are a constant work in progress.
Yeah. And I know people hate to think about actual work, right? Because there are so many people out there. You've seen them, all the gurus out there that just say, to write those affirmations, just repeat those affirmations to yourself 9 bazillion times a day. And it doesn't tend to stick. It might work for a short period, but it doesn't tend to stick. So let's talk about how what you do is different.
So what I do is, like you said, the affirmation might last for 24 hours. Um, and that's only if it's an affirmation. Like if I wrote down in the mirror that I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, and no matter how many times I tell myself, and this is what you're seeing, okay, at some point it's totally incongruent. So that's
Right.
BS, right? So what I do that's so different is that I work with the unconscious mind. And that's where all the glory and the gold is. Because consciously, so I would say that our life is ran by 90% unconscious, 10% conscious. And our conscious mind believes it's running our entire life when it's barely showing up. It's literally the mouthpiece, if you will, for what's truly going on, right? And so what I do is I get to the root of what's really behind that, right? What's really behind that lack of self-worth or that lack of self-doubt. And sometimes it's something as simple as somebody saying something to you, like, I don't know, you're dumb. One time in your life, somebody says that, and you take that on as your story, and you believe that, and now you go through life and you're dumb, or you've even labeled that, right? Labeled that yourself from experience. To, people live some pretty crummy, traumatic childhoods and stuff, and yet they still attach a story to that.
Right.
Story that they then begin believing and begin living. And reality is, we can go back and change that story. That's what I do, is I help people change their story to where it serves them and empowers them, as opposed to does not, until as opposed to disempowering them, I guess would probably be the way to say that.
I love that. I mean, I have to say, as I said at the beginning of the show, this is something that has transformed my business and my mindset. Really focusing on that has helped me to grow my business like crazy. When someone comes to you, what is it that they're generally thinking? Like, where are they stuck? What's that thought that finally gets them to move to a place that they actually want change?
Well, I think it's different for everyone. Sometimes it is that they know that there's way more potential in them and they can't get it out of them. Sometimes they are very successful monetarily and they still feel like an imposter or a fraud. And what I've recognized is that the more successful people are, because our society judges success on money, right? That's where our value is, overall generalizing, that then they still have what we call the itty bitty shitty committee firing off, right? They still have all the negative self-talk and everything, and they don't know what to do with it because everybody tells them how successful they are and their ego's reminding them that, right? And so that's one of the things that I've noticed as I work with high achieving clients is that they come because they really want, I'm going to call it unconditional happiness. They bought the car, they bought the boat, they bought the house, they might even bought the partner, whatever. And still they don't have the happiness that everybody says they deserve. And that's because we put a condition on happiness, just like we can put condition on love.
Yeah.
And reality is when we can get back to unconditional happiness, then that boat is much more fun to ride in.
Right.
That relationship is much more exciting to love in because it does all start with us. People try to fix it out there, and reality is it's inside of us that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's why.
There was something that you said a few minutes ago about how that itty bitty shitty committee leads to imposter syndrome and in this world of success. And when someone, I know we talk about like the wheel of life, right? That there's different aspects and areas of your life. And just because you're successful in money doesn't necessarily mean that you're successful in maybe your relationships or your health or your, I don't know, whatever other area of life is important to you that may also be struggling. And this is a question that I'm sure everyone's going to go, duh, Jen, like, why are you even asking that? But can what you do affect every area and it's not just focused on business?
Oh yeah, it does. And again, we can lie to ourselves all we want or kid ourselves all we want, but reality is how you do some things, you do all things. And how you do the big things, you do the small things. Our work feeds our personal life and our personal life serves our work. And so if that's true, then it is a vicious cycle. People come home from work and they're crabby and they're disassociated with their family. You think that doesn't impact the family? Oh, heavens, yes. And then you have turmoil going on at home. I mean, I'm just thinking about, my husband talking about people who are going through divorce at his work and how they can't get him to perform or they need to get them mental health help, all the things. So 100% that wheel that we talk about, that life wheel, is so essential to harmonize it. Now, many people say they want to balance life and they want to balance work and they want to balance business. Well, reality is the only way that always what comes to my mind is my sister and I trying to do the teeter-totter.
Mm-hmm.
We were, right at the same height, right at the same weight and all the things. And we're trying to do the teeter-totter and balance that. And that lasts for about a whole half a second, right? And then we're back at it again. And if we think of it in terms of harmonizing it, reality is during a busy season at work, you're going to be putting in more hours. That's the reality of the work, right?
Right.
And then there'll be times at home when you're needed much more at home, whatever that looks like. So what would happen if we really truly looked at harmonizing that, and knowing that the 18-hour days for 4 weeks will come to an end, right? And then you can do the 8-hour work and be home for your family and feel good about taking a vacation and all the things. So yes, very definitely, they speak to each other, and sometimes not so nicely.
True.
I mean, in transparency, that's exactly what happened to me. When I look at my life wheel, the one area of my life is my health. And I used to be a PE teacher, so I was really strong, 100% energy. I used to sit on my couch at night and go, I can't sit here. I have to go do something with this energy. And then started my own business and did a lot of networking. And networking is around food. And sometimes I networked 4 times a day. That would be breakfast, lunch, supper, and happy hour. And that all added up, I would literally think, man, I paid $25 to be here. You bet I'm going to eat that toasted ravioli or whatever, and all the years later, now I'm working to reverse that. And I know for certain it shows up everywhere in my life,
Right.
So it's just a vicious cycle that if we look at balance, it's not going to happen. If we look for harmony, it can very well happen.
And that was something that was really hard for me to accept, right? Harmony versus balance, because I think forever I was always trying to balance. It's why I started my business in the first place, was so that I could balance work and life, so I could have both. And reaching for that harmony of realizing that sometimes work's going to come ahead and sometimes family's going to come ahead, and it's cool, and we just get to roll with what's needed in that time, I think is a huge shift for people and can really make a huge difference in their lives. So
I agree.
For those that are looking to create a shift in their life, they're looking to change something in their mindset or their business or success, how would they get a hold of you? What's the best way for them to connect?
So probably the best way to connect is to LinkedIn. It's easy to connect. It's just Derlene Hirtz. And it's DerleneHirtz. And also just send me an email, is Derlene at you Empowered Services, and you spelled out youempoweredservices.com. And those are probably the 2 best ways. And then I'll be happy to reach out and share with them what it is that I have that maybe could help them. And if not, I certainly know somebody who can, that's for sure.
That's awesome.
And the goal is to really step into transformation of self.
Right. And it's the perfect time, right? Like timing is everything. We are at the end of the year. If your year has not been what you want it to be, and as well as I do, your mindset is a part of that. Now's the time to step into shifting that, into making those changes in your life and your business.
I agree.
So I will have all of Derlene's information in the show notes, and you can reach out to her there. And we will see you on the next episode of Marketing Matchmaker. Thank you for listening to the Marketing Matchmaker podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear your feedback. Please head over to Apple, iTunes, and leave a review so we can hear from you. And if you are a coach, consultant, or online course creator who are looking to grow your business, increase your income, and scale your impact, connect with me at yourmarketingmatchmaker.com. I look forward to hearing from you.